Assalamu alaikum everyone, how's it going? So in this video I'm going to be showing you the Raft key value project. I'm going to demonstrate how can we run the cluster and how can we interact with it. So let's actually get started. I go to my terminal and I do task docker up to run my cluster, and I do task UI to run the UI with which we're going to be interacting with the cluster. So I go to my browser. In this demo we're going to be having 5 nodes. So I'm going to set this to 5. So we have 5 rows to interact with every single node. And here we have the info that shows the status of the cluster, and it needs to be fetched every some interval. So I'm going to set this to 200. So as you can see, we get the info of every single node, and we have a single leader, which is node 1. Let's actually try to set some key and value. So we can see it has been set and successfully replicated on all the other nodes. Now let's try to read this value. We can see it has been read successfully. Now let's actually try to play a little bit with this cluster and stop some nodes and see how the cluster behaves. For this I'm going to be using Container to simulate stopping and restarting nodes. We go to the containers section. And now let's try to stop the leader. Okay, so the leader was the first node. I select it and I stop it. Now you can see that the term has increased on all the other nodes and a new leader has been elected, which is the second node. Now if we check if it has the same key that we wrote before, we can see it has. Now let's actually try to stop this for a second time the leader. We can see that the term has increased and a new leader has been elected. Okay, now let's actually try something. Okay, so now we checked the leader election. Now let's go and see how log replication works for previous entries. Okay, so currently we have only a single entry in the log. I'm gonna be sending an amount of messages, and then when these two servers come back to the cluster, the leader should be replicating these messages to them. So I'm going to open my terminal, I'm going to open a new one, and I'm going to do task send, and n is the amount of messages we will send. So maybe let's send 500. So if I go to the UI, we can see that the leader has been processing these messages and replicating them on all the other nodes. Okay, so we did 500 messages. Now if I open Container and restore these servers, the leader should be sending and replicating these messages. So they came back to the cluster. After a while the leader will contact them, so you can see it happened, and he already successfully replicated these messages on the followers that were unavailable for some time. Okay, so we have our cluster consistent, all the nodes have the same values, and we have done the replication successfully. That's all actually for this video. Thank you for watching. I really wish this was helpful. If you have any questions about the Raft cluster or the mechanism or even the demo itself, please feel free to reach out. I'm really glad to help with this, and see you on the next one.